The Israeli elections are less than 3 weeks away, and the dominant drive is for the centre, floating voters consistently floating around the centre. This trend isn't that new. Voters have long been looking for a bridging centre between the old right and the old left. Given that mindset among Israeli voters, and given also the numbers into which that wish materialized in successive elections, how is it that the centre parties failed so dismally to be the cement of successive ruling coalitions in Israel? And conversely, how come in this election, now on Israel's doorstep, is there such a real chance that the party that has cultivated the centrist image is likely to be not merely a junior coalition partner, but the party around which the next government will actually crystallize? It goes back to the second half of last year, when Ariel Sharon wrought nothing short of a two-step revolution. As the first stage in redefining the map of Israel, Sharon's disengagement from Gaza shattered the status quo of Israeli occupation. Then he created the Kadima party, Sharon's response to his Likud party's refusal to accept the need to disengage from the grip of the past. And that's a move which could permanently reorder Israel's political map. Triggered by these Sharon actions, the upcoming election is all about the centre. That's nothing new, remember. For 3 decades now, Israeli politicians and voters alike have flirted with the idea of a centre party taking centre political stage. In Israeli political terms, centre translates as bridge, an attempt to balance the perceived extremes of the right and the left, to fulfill the desire of voters for healing and reconciliation. In the past, the focus of centre parties has been coexistence at home rather than firm positions on issues such as peace and war, relations with the Arab world, and with the Palestinians. 2 such parties played critical roles in 1977. Dash, the Democratic Movement for Change, in the explosive post-Yom Kippur War election, helped end decades of Labour rule, while in 1999 the Centre Party helped undercut the right-wing Likud's rule. But having stormed into the centre each time, the successful Centre Party was soon sidelined into oblivion, their leaders, who had been marked out as future political superstars, eclipsed by the traditionally aligned politicians of right and left. From the day that Kadima was born by Ariel Sharon, critics disparaged it as having no intrinsic rationale, no coalescing ideology, of being a one-man tyranny. But Kadima does have a rationale, and it could have a future, all because of what Sharon did in Gaza, the way in which he brought Israel, through disengagement, to the brink of re-engaging itself. Suddenly, here was a centre party, not seeking to bridge right and left, but a party committed to a policy which enables Israel to turn its back on the Palestinians, a party which turns on Israel, turning in on itself, the party of unilateralism. Given both this Israeli separation mindset and given another important development of recent weeks, the storming to power in the Palestinian Authority of the radical Islamists of Hamas, there is no real prospect, for the first time in years, of any serious negotiations with the Palestinians. Moreover, for the first time in several Israeli elections, the Palestinians are not really in a position to interfere in Israeli politics, to swing things this way or that, as they have done so dramatically through peaceful or hostile moves in these most recent elections. It was because of the Palestinian challenge that in the past the sustained challenge of the centrist party, the centrist consensus, faltered. The Palestinian challenge, whether through peace or war, remained the glue that kept the Israeli voter stuck in the old camps, in the left camp on the one hand with its land for peace formula, or in the right camp calling as it did for a secure stand for peace against the Palestinians. This time the centre looked like it would not only grow but would manage to hold the high ground of Israeli politics. At least it appeared to be holding the high ground until Sharon's illness struck him out of the picture. His successor, Ehud Olmert, carries the same separation ideology, but he has been only partially successful in convincing the centrist voter that he will sustain the Sharon legacy. In other words, to keep the Palestinians out of the domestic political equation. In the last couple of weeks, the old uncertainties about the centre have, however, resurfaced. Labour to the left and Likud to the right have both been trying to reintroduce the Palestinians into the election. The Likud posits Hamas as a new Palestinian threat and demands that Israel be strong in response, while Labour again seeks to engage the Palestinians in negotiations about future relations. So, as we head into the final phase of these elections, it seems that the only way that Kadima can really restructure the Israeli political map is if the Sharon vision of pushing the Palestinians off that map is sustained. The big question to be resolved on March 28th is this: has Ehud Olmert been able to convince the centre, the consensus voter, that he has been true to the Sharon approach? But in so doing, he will have had to make the voter understand that keeping the Palestinians at bay means truly disengaging from the Palestinians, means allowing the Palestinians to run their own affairs so that they, in turn, are kept away from interfering in Israel's affairs. Success for Ehud Olmert would be a double reward. The new centrist philosophy of separation from the Palestinians would become the future pivot of Israeli policies, and his party, Sharon's new centre party Kadima, would become the pivot of Israeli politics, at least for the foreseeable future.